Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to Jean Mitton's Life Lessons. We're carrying on with a fantastic book, Wake Up, Grow Up, and Stop It. And today we are on chapter lesson 2, number 3, knowing that you are loved as a child, regardless of the circumstances, goes a long way.
Michael, can I say something first?
Yeah,
Okay. I consider myself a little bit conscious. Do you consider yourself a little bit conscious?
absolutely.
So then I have to tell you something, okay? You're dealing with an old person. I've been asked by friends far and wide why I haven't corrected you with my name. Can you remember the first probably 60 seconds of our first interview?
Yes,
Can you remember what I said about my surname?
Mitten,
Okay.
Mitton.
So I've corrected everybody my whole life because Mitton for me is Mitten, but the
Ah,
but the Mittons in England are Mitton. Mittons in French in France are Mitton as well, but they pronounce Mitten and Mitton. So it's Jean Mitton, and
Mitton.
I'm only telling you because everybody's asked me why haven't you corrected that man yet?
Well, now we all know, everybody. Welcome to Jean Mitton's Life Lessons, everyone. Yes.
Thank you.
So, knowing that you are loved as a child,
Yeah,
regardless of the circumstances, goes a long way.
yeah.
What was that all about?
Well, I suppose it's been the last of four children. You're in a house where everybody's busy all the time. And as I said, my mother was a shouting mother, so she shouted and she threw cups and was very often in a state. And days became hard. But when I went to bed at night, I was tucked in by my mother and told I was loved. So I knew I was loved, even despite her behavior. Me, I was loved. And I knew that. So the shouting during the day was okay. And I had my granny, who was always around saying, come, let's go.
Yes, yes, yes. So you had a support system, which is
Yes,
important.
absolutely.
But how do you, especially as a child, how do you kind of come to terms with the actions and the words not always adding up?
I think that's where you develop your life, your flop, your fundamental life operating principle, because you don't count, you're not good enough, you whatever it might be, it develops there. I mean, me being teased by my brothers all day long, me crying all day long, me causing the fights because I was the sensitive one and not them. So that's where you develop what you base your rest of your life on until you wake up, become conscious and aware that that's a load of nonsense.
And change that story.
Change that story.
And there's a lot of kids out there that actually have everything, the perfect parents. It all looks good,
Yes, but it's
but
not.
it's not. It's there's no love. What what would you say to people who have been brought up from that kind of space?
Well, my dad, I think you've got to realize that your parents have you and they're not given a handbook with you. They handed a baby and they go home and this one screams and this one doesn't, this one smiles, that one shouts. So so it's hard for them. But when you know you're loved, I mean, many of certainly in Africa, little children get sent home to their grannies who've already got another 10 kids to look after.
Mm,
And that granny's had it. She feels like I feel at the moment, okay?
yeah.
Had it. So do they know they are loved? Because when mother arrives, they actually are very nervous because they haven't seen her.
Mm,
And life becomes hard like that as a child. When
yes.
you know where your bed is, when you know where your space is, when you know when the dog's going to get into bed with you, your granny's there. I mean, my dad was absent. He was a working father.
Mm,
So all I wanted him to do was to tell me I love you. And he hadn't been brought up like that. He was brought up in an orphanage.
yes, yes, yes.
So when you can start giving thanks to them just for giving you life alone, you can look at something and change it.
Yes, yes, yes. And we speak about that flop, the principle that we
Yes,
grow up with believing in.
yes.
And how do we go about changing that now?
Well, that's when you wake up, I think. For me, you become conscious when you realize what you're operating from.
Hmm.
So for myself, it was my under the eiderdown experience that got me there. Um, most people don't want to look at that. That's what I'm dealing with right now with age. They've never looked at that.
Yes,
And it's quite hard. I mean, there's quite a few profound courses that you can go and do. Quest was around in the old days.
yes, yes, yes.
Harlequin and Chalice. I did. There's Vida now, Vida and Aluge. And those are almost like shock tactic courses
Hmm.
that wake you up.
And obviously going to see a coach, going to see a
Yes,
counselor, therapist, or
yes,
anyone to help you.
absolutely.
And I think that that's key is that when you want to know or start something and know you need to change it, you have to take some action.
You have to work.
You have to take some action to get into that better space. Um,
Yes.
and at the end of the day, there's a different kind of love that we also need to start accessing within ourselves.
Love your creator first, yourself
Yeah,
second, and your neighbor third.
there you go.
How do you get to love your neighbor if you don't love yourself?
Mm.
And you can't get stuck in self-love without extending it out because then you're also in trouble.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So there's a loving oneself and nurturing oneself, even if you weren't brought up in that space, goes a long, long way, right?
What did we say as kids? I love myself. I think I'm great. Kiss me quick before I kiss myself.
Ah,
Too late.
too late. Gorgeous. Yeah, these are awesome like ways in which we kind of have to also look into. And
Yep.
there's lots of hidden messages in nursery rhymes and those
Yes.
little uh, kids fairy tales and stuff like that.
Yep. Which we were unaware of.
Yes. But now that we are aware of,
Hmm.
we can go around and start fixing ourselves.
Indeed.
Yes. So the question now, and why you brought it up in the book, is knowing that you are loved. And if it's not from that main support group of parents, where then does it come from?
Well, for me, whatever experience you have, either good or bad, everybody has good or bad experiences. So in that instant, you can become conscious. For me to be aware,
Hmm.
and when you're aware, you realize that that plant outside there doesn't need to be told it's loved. It simply knows it's loved. It grows. So for me, love, which is what created me, is what I am. So
Mm.
I know I am loved. People tell me that when people are dying, that you shouldn't leave them alone. They are not alone. Okay, if you sit next to a dying patient, you will feel love move in. Love is there, it's present, it's never absent.
Mm.
But we have to be conscious enough, and that's the waking up that I was talking about. We have to be aware
Mm.
to know that we're no different from that plant, from that moon, that star, that sun. They know they are loved. We want to hear, I love you.
Yeah.
Or we say, I love you, and we don't say it back. We sulk for years.
Yes. We want that acknowledgement.
What's that
We want
acknowledgement?
the attention.
Oh,
And it's always trying to fill a void or try to
yep,
find an external
yep,
love.
yep.
And that's not the way to go about it, is it?
Love is within all of us. And
Mm.
when you start giving it out, you feel it more within.
Yeah, absolutely. And trying to access that love within and finding it. And then the world looks different afterward.
Absolutely.
You're not looking for that
Mhm.
recognition, that acknowledgement constantly.
Nope, you'll find love meeting you in the supermarket.
Yeah, all around.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
Hmm.
Okay. So thanks, Jean, for sharing a very valuable lesson. And if you don't feel that you were brought up with love, know that you are still surrounded by love. The universe is there looking after you, even if it doesn't feel like it
And
sometimes.
the universe is so beautiful. How can there be anything else other than love?
Exactly.
It's exquisite.
When things are going your way, the universe is looking out for you. And when they're not going your way, the universe is looking out for you.
Yes. And did you see the moon last night?
Yeah, so
Just
bright.
hanging there.
Wow. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, how little we know.
Absolutely. Good. Well, that's it. We're
Thank you,
supposed to
Michael.
go and start learning,
Yep.
becoming aware, becoming conscious. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.